Hi guys, welcome to Charity's Bubble USA, your #1 channel. I'm here. I hope that you're doing well. I'm also doing very much okay. I want to talk about two things in this video that are unrelated, but I want to combine them in one video. My name is Charity Nganga. This is Charity's Bubble USA, your #1 channel. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, kindly consider subscribing. Guys, please, when you watch my video, please hit the thumbs up and like it. Goodness, it doesn't cost you anything to like a video, you know. I tell you guys that I like to look at data, you know. I work with numbers, and numbers never lie, you know. So you can see a video is being watched by so many people, but it has very few likes. So please like my video. That's the way that when you hit the like button, that's the way the YouTube algorithm works. You know, the more you like it, the more it's seen by other people. So guys, please support my work and like my video. Like I said, it doesn't cost anything to push the like button. It's just something that you can do like that, and that's it. So I want to talk about the DV lottery just a little bit. I don't want to talk about it much because it's something that's in the process that might happen or might not happen. That there might be a fee that will be added for people to apply for the DV lottery. Now, the bill is still being processed. It hasn't been debated on, but if it goes through and everything, know that people will be paying an application fee of $250 to apply for the DV lottery, which is a disadvantage, guys, because those hindrances, they bring problems. You know, they are a handicap, especially to people who cannot afford that money, and especially people in Africa. I'm not saying that everybody is poor in Africa, but the majority of people cannot be able to afford that money, you know. So it's like, I do remember when they talked about the passport. The passport only goes for a very few thousand shillings in Kenya or in any other country if you compare to the dollar. But I do remember when the passport was introduced that everybody had to have a passport before they applied for the DV lottery. The number of the DV lottery applicants went very low. It was drastically low. So I hope and pray that that day doesn't come in, but even if it comes in, you know, like the passport thing came in, it worked for a few years and then it was reversed by some people who went to court, which is okay. So I don't want to dwell so much on that, but that might happen, you know. People might be charged. There might be a fee if that bill passes for people to pay $250 before they apply for a DV lottery, which is I think it's a disadvantage because you're paying for something that you don't know whether you're gonna win or not. So most people are not gonna apply for it. You know, I normally say that it's an elimination method. You know, if someone wants to kick you out of their house, they're not gonna tell you. They're just gonna put some restrictions. So those are some of the restrictions. But we are always positive, and we always pray for the best. Now that is done, I'm not gonna dwell on it so much because it hasn't been passed. Now, there's another very important thing that I want to talk about. I want to talk about people in the diaspora. I also want to talk about people in Africa who are investors. It's good to invest, and it's good to have business. Very good. And business needs a lot of honesty, like very honest. You gotta have to be very honest and very transparent when you're doing business, so that other things do not come haunting you. So I read the newspaper, the Kenyan newspaper. I think it was on the 4th, and there was a group of 3 men who had been named there, and they are involved in swindling people who are abroad of money in the name of buying them a piece of land and building them houses. Will I say that some people have not been bought for land and their houses being built? Yes. But you know, when people start doing business, they do it very well. But then at some point, when the clientele is very, you have a large clientele and maybe you don't have much to offer, some people tend to be greedy. So what they do is that they still receive money from our clients and they do not deliver. And that's how it looks like in that scam, whereby so many people have been swindled of their hard-earned money in the name of buying land. Now, I want to talk about two kinds of people who live here in the diaspora. And let me talk about US. And if I don't even want to think about the people in the Middle East. Because if I think about the people in the Middle East, I will be so sad. Because most people in the Middle East, they go there by contract. And they cannot leave and go home the way they wish to go and oversee what's going on. So, even those I know they have been swindled, but they might come here and tell stories, you know what I mean? So, let me talk about here, whereby you have someone who came here, maybe they have a green card, they're US citizen, they're US permanent resident, and they send money, they have sent money to buy land and all that, and then they, of course you have to receive pictures, and maybe you see, there was this person who went to court, and he was saying that he sent money, he sent half of his money, and they said he sent a down payment of 2 million, and then they said that the remaining 6 million he was supposed to pay in installments. But then when he started demanding the pictures of the progress of the work, they started sending him different kind of pictures, of which he was able, because he was able to go to court, and they were able to refund some of the money, and some of it they were not able to refund. I don't know why. Now let's talk about a person who doesn't have papers. And that person's wish is maybe they wanna build something so that when they go back, because when they go back, they will never be able to come back. When you don't have papers and you exit, they don't let you back in. That's why if I tell you that if you see someone has stayed here for 20 years and they've never gone home, and maybe there have been like things that have happened, like funerals for close family members and they haven't attended, that person doesn't have papers. So you have been sending your money and you send to these people. These people advertise. They even have insiders here in the US, people who are advertising for them. Maybe they approach someone like maybe me. They cannot approach me very much because I don't have maybe a large following or anything, and at the end of the day I'm transparent, so I cannot involve myself in dirty work. That one I can do. I like to go to work very hard, earn my own money, and use it the way I want. That's how I do it. But I cannot be approached by someone to do marketing of something that I don't know if it's right or not wrong, because I cannot be involved in any scandal, especially when it comes to spending other people's money dishonestly. I cannot be dishonest. That's me. I cannot be dishonest. So I just can't. So there are some people who they advertise for those people. And I have my own following in YouTube. I won't say that I don't have my own following. So if I start talking about land that is being sold out there, and maybe I've bought my own land and whatever, and I built a house, of course people are gonna believe, because people like to, people tend to look at an example. So they might believe, and then they send their money, and then they to buy a house or for their house to be built, and then they end up losing a lot of money, because millions and millions of dollars have been lost, guys. This is serious. Those 3 men were published in the national newspaper. They have companies, and I'm telling you, I've had several of them even slide into my DM, because as we invest here in the US, we've invested, and that's what we continue to do, to invest here in the US, because our children will live here. And we don't see why we should invest so much in Africa. Yes, we have invested a little bit, not much, but our investment is a little bit different. We do not go through brokers. If a broker is selling a piece of land, believe me, I am not gonna even look at it. No matter how cheap, or no matter how easy, or no matter how the documents look like, I cannot buy from a broker. And that's the same stand that me and my husband have. We cannot buy from brokers, because a few years ago we purchased some land in Kenya, and it took us a while, because we had to wait until we met land that was being sold by the owner. That is how we were able to get land. Like, we cannot go through agency or brokers, because no. But I feel for those people who are not able to do that, or who are not bold enough to say, oh, I can look for someone who can tell me, it doesn't matter the process or whatever, or it can be slower or whatever, but you'd rather go to an owner of a piece of land and buy from them. That is how I see it. Because you do not want your hard-earned money to be spent by someone sitting in an office, a well-furnished office, with those chairs that go round and round and round, and they're just sitting down, utilizing your hard-earned money in the name of buying you a plot and building you a house, a retirement home, or a house that you can do a rental. No, you don't want to do that, guys. You do not want to do that. And I normally say that when you come to live abroad, your mind broadens a little bit. You cannot be in the shell. You cannot be carried out by maybe one person's, because maybe someone has a huge following, and they are they are very outgoing, and maybe they go to different churches here in the US, and they talk to people, and you feel like you can get credit from them, and you feel like you can trust them, and then they convince you to go and buy a piece of land, and at the end of the day you end up losing your money. And those people will still come online and try to exonerate themselves, even if they have, people are very cunning. So you're gonna have to be very careful. You're gonna have to think twice before you start sending money to people, to agencies, to buy you pieces of land and building for you, because you might end up losing a lot. Some people are lucky, maybe they haven't lost, but what about those people who have lost their money? Now let's assume it's another person who is here, and they cannot go home, and they have invested, and they want to follow up, but they don't even have a good family member who can follow up for them. Because the moment they send money to a family member, instead of the family member following up for them, they first of all utilize that money. Like, they don't have anywhere that they can run to. Because you've also heard of stories of people sending money home for their houses to be built by family members, and they go back to find nothing. So where are we going to run to if the people who we thought that could help us invest in Africa are the ones who are involved in scamming? They have become scammers, because they become greedy. Because the money will still come, people will still work, people will still be in need of land. Most Africans, even if they stayed here for a long time, they want to retire back home and die with their people. That's the African way. You see, when people die here, like, there's a lot of mobilization so that the body can be taken back home to rest, to its final resting place. That happens a lot. And that is what pulls people back to go and build a home, a retirement home, whereby when you're very old and you cannot run around doing doubles and, working very hard, then you can go and settle. But you find that your hard-earned money, you're sending it to people out there, and those people are using your money in the wrong way, and they're not delivering. That is so sad, But the thing is that people might never change. But you who lives in diaspora, keep your money to yourself. Look for other ways to save your money, and then when you get a chance and go back home, then you will be able to do your investments. But do not, because right now you don't know who you are sending to. I followed up that story, and even the chairman of those organizations said that they have no clue. They don't know. They have no idea of how that happens. I'm like, what? They don't know about that scandal. The highest of the highest doesn't know about that scandal. I'm like, really? They don't? It's like something happens in our own house. Our kids do something, and me and Francis, we are there saying that we don't know anything about that. Like, that doesn't make sense. I don't like to mention names, but I like to follow up. And I hate people who are dishonest. Like, for me, I cannot be dishonest. But I know that money is bad. And I talked about money the other day. Money is bad. And if you're not careful, you are going to be scammed. Your hard-earned money. Oh, I will buy you a plot. I will build you a nice flat, a nice bungalow, a nice whatever. You know, some of them have traveled. They know the way houses are built here in the US. Like those houses are built exactly like the houses that we live in here, which is good. If a person is honest and that they are doing that work and they are building for people in the diaspora, well and good. That is good. And that is a good resource. But if people are building and then when the money, when the demand is too high, they start scamming people, then I don't see why the people in diaspora should continue listening to the mobilizers. Because you know, Africa is very far away from here. It's very, very far away. If you go with a plane from here, from New York to Nairobi, it's 16 hours. So, and maybe you don't live in New York, you have to go to another destination that's going to be like 3 to 4 hours. So I would give it roughly a maximum of 20 hours from maybe Nairobi to where I live. So that's very, very far away. But if there is a middleman who I know that goes to Kenya often, and they know, they are telling me that they have bought pieces of lands for people and they produce people with evidence, then it's very, very easy for you to fall into that trap. And you gotta be very, very careful, because those organizations are starting to happen here in the US, whereby people are joining together and they are saying it's no or something, they want to know each other in different states. And that is where those advertisements happen. And I'm not saying that it's bad to advertise, no. But you gotta think about it. Yes, they will advertise. They will say, oh, they will have stands whereby they are linked to those organizations which build houses. They buy land and build houses for people. And they will have their stands and will go and listen, and you might be lured to send your money. And then at the end of the day, you will end up crying. So go to those organizations, listen, but do not make a decision. A decision that at the end of the day you will end up crying because you lost your money. You do not want to do that, guys. You do not want to do that. You know, you might have around you, you might have people who you can really not trust. But I believe that there is that one person that you can trust. And you can ask if they can assist you in trying to find a piece of land, but not from those agencies. Oh my gosh, that route is dangerous. It is very dangerous, and it's very unfortunate that even some of us who live in diaspora, we have caused our own people who live in the diaspora to lose money, because we are the ones who are advertising those businesses. We are the ones through our platforms who are advertising for them and who are making people believe and go and spend their money, and then they end up losing. Wow, and to those people who cannot go back home and sue those companies and get back their money, because if you're here and you're stuck here and you cannot go back home, then your money gets lost. So you can imagine how many people have lost their money. If people wanted to come forward and talk about it, how many people do you think have lost their money? So many. And there's nothing that they can do. Because even those people who live in Nairobi, they know that that person will never come back because they don't have papers. Even them, they can tell if someone doesn't have papers, you know. They know. Because there's no way that you're going to live abroad for like 20, 30 years and you've never gone back, and then you're starting to build and everything. No, they will know that this person might not have papers. I hear them talking and even making jokes of people who do not have papers, doing comedy, you know. But if you do, and you know you're wise enough, then you can go and follow up. But it's tedious, because you have to hire a lawyer, you have to go to court, you have to waste a lot of time following up. So because instead of all that headache, why not keep the money for yourself and invest when you feel like you are comfortable? You know, us, if it comes to build something, either Francis will go to Africa and we will get all the materials and we will get everything, and he will stay there for a month, and that house will be built. Unless it is done like that, we can never trust anyone to do it for ourselves. To do it for us. No, we can't. It's not that we haven't been beaten. We have been beaten. And then we learned the hard way. We were like, no, we can't do that anymore. So guys, I'm just here to kind of enlighten people, because there's another thing that happens when people come to live in the diaspora, is that there are some people who live indoors and they don't go anywhere. Like right now, you find that people are scared because you don't know if you're gonna go, and then you meet these whatever, you meet people who are gonna, you know, take you and take you back home, deport you. So people are very scared, and you find that it is very, very easy for someone to make a rash decision, because you're like, if I'm caught and I am deported and I don't have anything, then what could I do? So that's when you make a rash decision. You are saying, oh, there's this company, they buy houses, and they sell land and they build for people, so maybe I can go and do that. Don't make that rash decision, guys. Do not, because if you do, you are going to end up in trouble. You're going to end up in trouble with your hard-earned money. So that's what I wanted to talk about, because it's a sad story, guys. It's a sad story. But anyway, it is what it is. But it's good to be careful. It's very, very good to be careful. Who are you sending your money to? There are so many scammers out there. There are people who like to spend other people's resources without working hard, you know. There are some people who just like to sit down. Even here in the US, they come here and they don't want to do anything. But those are the people who talk much. Or you can even give them your own child because of the way they talk. And they don't like people like us, because like me, if my sixth sense tells me like this is not right, I am going to talk about it. Because I really don't owe anybody an apology of being honest. No, I choose to be honest, and I have always chosen to be honest, and I have always chosen to utilize what is mine. So guys, you're gonna have to be very, very, very careful. And if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, kindly consider subscribing. I always thank you for even liking my videos. If you have never liked my video, please press the thumbs up and like my video. And if you have been watching and you have not been liking, make it a habit to like. It doesn't cost you anything to like my video. So guys, it's just an enlightenment, you know, just to enlighten you and let you know that you're gonna have to be more wise on investing, because there's someone out there who is waiting for that hard-earned money so that they can spend it, and you do not want to fall victim. So guys, that one is in a hurry. I wish you all the best. Thank you, and God bless you.